Hello, this is C. Marshall, and these are my thoughts on Catacomb Kids. If you consider this relevant, I played this entirely with an Xbox 360 controller. Catacomb Kids has very similar design sensibilities but to both Spelunky and Rogue Legacy. I can't say that it's inspired by these games, because I haven't read much into the development process or interviews with the developer or really anything. With these games, it has added a ton of complexity. Dense, hidden systems are built upon discovery, like fire that melts objects, balls of goo creating bounce pads, and using this goo to also stick traps in place. Gas can fill rooms and be ignited into an explosion, and so on. There is so much going on that it actually hurts the game at first, but with this, becoming familiar with it becomes all the more satisfying. Things that were once frightening will eventually be used as traps for your enemies and such. It's purposefully obscure. The game also has a tight focus on platforming, with a wide variety of movement options. You can crouch jump, you can dive, and eventually level up to run on walls or generally navigate the environments better. It's all animated beautifully as well, or more smoothly I should say. But the choice to pixelate the graphics this much makes a lot of items hard to identify at first glance, and in a game this punishing they really should work to make things a little easier to differentiate. In line with this complaint, the physics are pretty bouncy, fast, and unpredictable at times, which can make death seem really unfair. Switches blend in with the floors and backgrounds pretty easily as well, and this constant need to have full attention isn't good for long play sessions, especially because there is no ongoing progression outside of your runs and your general growth with the game. Rogue Legacy remedied this with the addition of passive upgrades. Spelunky allowed for the creation of shortcuts, and this game gives you nothing. Not that I really expected it, it's something worth noting though. It's built like an old arcade game, thirsty for your quarters, with secrets and tips being whispered between the insiders. In my opinion, it's obscure to a fault. I know a lot of people love to work hard to get in on the joke, but it's really far too obtuse. Combat's also quite deep, but similarly confusing. It's strange because there's a lot going on under the hood while you mash buttons feverishly, with swords locking and enemies doing more than just standing around waiting to get killed. But even with this all going on, the game's looks aren't conducive to this deep combat. It's so hard to figure out what the little sprites are doing during intense moments, with the end of combat almost always ending with me taking a deep breath and attempting to figure out what the hell just happened. Spells make things a little more interesting. Some of them heal you while others release lightning or fire. These all react with the environments in really creative ways, like furniture burning down and water conducting electricity. You can comprehend these elements and formulate plans, but they're really hard to pull off with the bad combination of speedy gameplay and loose physics. I would always try to do cool things and end up a corpse. The game introduces all these amazing things for you to do, but you die so quickly that their impact is lessened. There's some incredibly creative stuff going on in the game. I love how potions are slowly discovered as you hold them, with patterns slowly emerging with extended. Like, I know now that health potions are a thick, warm, and cloudy substance, which you will discover throughout the time playing each session. But the potions change every time, so you can't just know that, the Crimson Potion does this. There are other methods to discover potions, like tossing at an enemy or biting the bullet and just gulping it down. The first option of waiting a while takes a long time. The second could give the enemy an unexpected buff, and the third can end in a quick death. These decisions make for great emergent gameplay, and it feels great to discover this stuff. And the game is quite fun on a very basic level. It's great to jump in for a while and slowly peel back its harsh, leathery layers. Maybe it will eventually do its work on me, because the game has a ton of smoothing out left to do. And regarding this early access, there isn't much here, but there's a lot promised. The developer is pretty vocal, and the game's menus show a skeleton waiting to be filled out. There are currently 2 classes on offer and a lot more on the way, which will flesh out the game a lot more, but also spread out this complexity. I would love to be able to start with base stats on each character and grow accordingly, instead of always having to make unnecessary concessions. The game really isn't interested in being your friend, and people I'm assuming are going to defend it till their death because they feel like they're part of the game's clique after playing it for a little while. But if the developer decided to ease up a bit, give the players more health or something, it would make this gleeful experimentation a lot more fun. I mean, for example, there is dismemberment, but everything dies so quickly that it's worthless and just insignificant. The traps are fun to play with, but ultimately simplistic in their implementation. But the way this game ties together together its systems is really fantastic. And maybe for me it's just too late to the whole permadeath roguelike party, but from my position, Catacomb Kids is something truly special, being destroyed by trendy design choices. You know, my girlfriend and I just got a puppy, and right now she's adorable, but she's also just the worst. I know, though, that eventually she will grow out of her bad behavior and we'll become best buds. I love her to death right now as her caretaker, but also on the condition of a promise that we will grow together, and this is the great thing about a puppy, or on a more extreme level, a child. The fact that we will become comfortable with each other after a period of discomfort and struggle. What I'm really trying to say is, I love Dark Souls, I love Binding of Isaac Rebirth, and I love Spelunky. But honestly, I'm getting pretty fucking tired of raising all these dogs. Thank you so much for watching.